Imagine pursuing a passion for decades, only to have it slip away from you slowly because of a disease. In today's Idaho Life, Brian Holmes introduces us to a local artist who is now forced to let go of something that has brought him so much joy.
The thing about glass is, as an artistic medium, it can be pretty fragile. But when you take thousands upon thousands of tiny pieces and patch them together, their strength can be showcased in 12-foot sculptures, like this one in the lobby of St. Luke's new hospital in Nampa. Just finished in January, the project took 7 months.
These pliers that we're using are really old.
Conceived and pieced together.
I've used these for like 40 years.
In Richard Herdegen's garage.
But they're nice.
For decades, Richard made a career as a software engineer.
It was a good way to earn a living, let's put it that way.
But he found a more expressive outlet in here.
Okay, so this guy ought to be interesting.
A 240-square-foot space that may have seen more of Richard over the years than his wife, Diane.
You know what? I don't know what he would do all day if he couldn't do his art. I mean, he literally is doing art 7, 8, 9 hours a day, 7 days a week.
He's been a self-taught glassman since the 70s.
Yeah, I started before there were things like classes.
Starting with stained glass.
This is probably 1972. He's really cool.
And after a short stint in neon, Richard settled into mosaics, completing and donating several major pieces around the Treasure Valley.
Some of these, see now, that one did break the way I wanted, but that's just fine.
The other thing about glass is,
yeah,
sometimes it's not as fragile as our own bodies.
Yeah.
7 years ago, Richard was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, a neurological disorder first noticed by Diane.
You noticed, that your hand is shaking quite a bit. Yeah.
He was immediately prescribed medication, but his tremors continued to get worse.
Parkinson's disease is like being encased in concrete. It's that bad. It's really quite terrible.
Then came the procedure that changed his path. In 2014, Richard underwent deep brain stimulation surgery, attaching wires to the pea-sized part of the brain that controls his motor functions.
The brain sees electricity just like dopamine. So we can increase the amount of electricity in concert with the decline in dopamine production that we see as a part of this disease.
Dr. Asher says the electricity measures just fractions of a volt, but it renders a powerful result.
It's really cool too. I mean, I'm sitting there shaking away and all of a sudden, boink, and my hand wasn't shaking.
Since, Richard has been able to work with his glass pieces without so much as a shake.
The first 6 years were real easy. Now it's getting harder.
You see, the thing about Parkinson's is, it's not just the tremors. It can also attack your cognitive abilities.
It's the creative side that you need in order to invent stuff. I don't have that anymore.
Which is why the last large mosaic mural he just finished will likely be his last.
Had fun doing it.
And eventually, he will let it all go. But like the mosaics he creates, there's still a use for flawed fragments, like passing knowledge to the next generation.
Try that side.
As for what's next for Richard and his not-so-idle hands?
So I'm trying to learn the ukulele.
And there's one more thing about glass. It can also help you see clearly.
Because you need to have something that you enjoy and challenges you. And this has met that need for me. So I need to glue that.
Brian Holmes.
And then I'm all done with that piece.
Idaho's News Channel 7.
You can see Richard's larger handiwork on display in the lobby of the new St. Luke's Hospital in Nampa and on the second floor of the Children's Specialty Center at St. Luke's in downtown Boise.